TV shows on Netflix, you must watch part 1. First, Money Heist is really good. But if you know Spanish, go ahead and watch it in Spanish because it's really good in Spanish. Like, it's just funny. Let me tell you about All American. All the black guys and light skins in there are hella fine. And apparently it's a good show. So I think you should go watch it. Okay, if you're underage, I don't recommend you to watch Sex Education. But be bad and go ahead and watch it. Because fuck it. But if you get in trouble, don't blame it on me. I am not okay with this. It's a really good show. Apparently that girl has like superpowers, but you have to watch it to understand. I don't know how to explain it, but you need to watch it. Okay, y'all better watch it. Man, I want a guy like him. A guy that kills for me and stalks me 24/7.
Netflix movies you can watch during your quarantine, part 6. Alright, first is going to be The Platform, and when I tell you, a movie has never had me so shook. So basically, prisoners who are at the top floors, they get to eat better than those who are at the bottom floors. And if you're at a bottom floor, you get scraps. And the floors are random. Each month, the inmates move to different floors, so it's not based on your crime or anything. So in this story, we follow one guy and the experiences he went through and the things that he had to do to survive. If you just want a thriller that'll have you just shocked the entire time, this is the movie. Next is going to be a movie called Freaks. And a dad forces his daughter to stay inside because she has superpowers and he's trying to avoid the government and, not get her killed. This is also just such another interesting concept, and the acting of this little girl is just phenomenal. Similar to The Platform, if you want another movie that's really just going to keep you on your toes and yelling at the TV and probably cry, this is for you. This is a movie called Room, and a woman gets kidnapped and raped and she becomes pregnant and she has the child. And once her son turns 5 years old, she begins to plan a plot for their escape. Also, the direction is just brilliant. If you need a tearjerker, watch this movie.
Movies to watch when you want to cry, but Netflix edition. That's so sad. I don't think I'll ever be the same. It's gotta be you. OG.
Keep it 100 when I throw these hundreds. I hope that your ass gon' know what to do.
That's my way. Do it like that and I repeat it. Don't be scared, I ain't afraid. Just like that, come on my way.
I was doing fine without you till I saw your face. Now I can erase, putting into all this bullshit. I was doing fine without you till I saw your face. Now I can erase, putting into all. I was doing fine without you till I saw your face. Now I can erase, putting into all.
Keep it 100 when I throw these hundreds. I hope that your ass gon' know what
That's
to
my
do.
That's my way. Do it like that and I repeat it. Don't be scared, I ain't afraid. Just like that, come on my way.
I need to know, could you be the one to call when I lose control?
Movies you can watch during your quarantine, part 17. First is a movie you guys recommended called In the Tall Grass. So a pregnant woman and her brother hear a kid screaming in a field, so they enter into the tall grass to try to help the kid. When I tell you my face was during the entire movie, I'm not kidding. This had so many good twists and turns, and the entire time I was just wanting more and more and more. This is a really good horror thriller. This was also really well directed. Next is 22 July. So this is a true story about terrorist attacks that happened in Norway on July 22nd of 2011. The fact that this is based on a true story will break your heart even more. But one thing I thought was really interesting was that we got to see the point of view from the terrorist and the point of view from a family of an injured boy. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know these attacks happened until I watched this movie, so I think it's really important to watch this just so you're informed on the world history. And the acting is amazing. When I saw they added The Roommate to Netflix, I was so happy. So we follow a girl and her roommate, and her roommate ends up becoming a stalker. Super obsessive. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I like this movie so much, but I love it. It's like an easy horror film with a lot of familiar faces. watch during your quarantine, part 3. Alright, first is Step Brothers, which is just a classic comedic movie. So a man and a woman get married and they both have 40-year-old sons that still live at home. I'm sure you can imagine where this goes. I recommend this movie if you just really need a good laugh. Next is gonna be a movie called Circle. The thing that drew me to this movie was definitely the concept. Basically, 50 strangers are put in this room type thing, and only one of them gets to live, and every 2 minutes they have to choose who they're gonna kill off. I recommend this movie if you just want to watch something that's, honestly, it's just a great storyline. It's super interesting to see how strategic people are and how far they're willing to go to survive. Alright, if you want to cry, you need to watch My Girl. So it's a coming-of-age story that takes place in the summer and follows this 11-year-old girl, and it shows how she handles love and loss. That's all I'm gonna say without spoiling it. Watch this movie if you want to cry.
Netflix movies you should watch. If you have Netflix, you need to see The Pianist. It's about a Polish pianist trying to survive during the Holocaust, and that's all I'm going to say about it because you really need to experience this completely blind. I don't want you guys to know too much about this story. All you need to know about this movie is that it's really well made, the acting's great, the directing's great, and it's also very sad, so be sure to be in the right state of mind before you see this movie. It's one of the greatest Holocaust movies ever made. It's one of the greatest movies, period. So if you have Netflix, check this one out.
Netflix movies you can watch during your quarantine, part 4. First is gonna be Life as We Know It. So I'm not really a big rom-com fan, I never have been, but you guys recommended this one, and honestly, it was so cute. So in the beginning of the movie, these two were set up on a blind date by their best friend. But then their best friends pass away and they have a daughter, and in the will, they say that they want these two, their best friends, to take care of their daughter if anything happens. I recommend this if you just want a feel-good movie and you just want to watch something really cute. Next is gonna be Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. The movie is telling the story of Ted Bundy, who is a serial killer. I think it's really interesting how they make it from the point of view of Ted Bundy's wife, because it just gives us a whole new perspective on the case. I recommend this if you're into serial killer stuff or if you like thrillers. Next is gonna be Zodiac, which is another serial killer movie. So the Zodiac killer sends cryptic messages to the investigator, and he sends phone calls and all these really creepy things to try to get them to find out what his identity is. And we get to follow the investigators as they're looking into this case for about 10 years. This movie just has great acting and brilliant direction, like 10 out of 10. Here's some really awesome movies you can watch during your quarantine, part 1. The Shawshank Redemption is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It premiered in 1994, and it tells the story of 2 men who become best friends in prison between 1940 and 1960s. I would recommend this movie if you just want to watch a beautiful piece of cinematography. I just watched Lost Girls yesterday, and it's honestly such a beautiful movie. It tells the story of sex workers and how their cases often get brushed under the table. In the movie, we follow the mother and how she deals with the police and the fact that they're not taking her daughter's case seriously. I'd recommend this movie if you're into crime things or if you want a tearjerker, because it gets pretty emotional. Speaking of tearjerker, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. The movie premiered in 2008, and it tells the story of these 2 guys and how they become best friends. His dad works at a concentration camp, and he is inside of the concentration camp. So this little guy sneaks inside of the concentration camp so he can be with his friend. This movie will 100% make you cry, and it just goes to show how scary our world history is. Like for part 2.